Professor Jason Leitch, who is the clinical director for the Scottish Government. Good morning to you, Jason.
Ewan. Morning.
Morning. We were just talking there when we were listening to the Stereophonics and Handbags and Glad Rags, and just 10 days ago, your wife was at the Stereophonics at the Hydro.
Yeah, and my sister. Life changes in 10 days, doesn't it? It's astonishing how we've had to take really, really big decisions for this country. And we'll have a bit of a chat about some of the lighter elements of that maybe in the next little while. But this is a proper thing. This is a serious problem. And we haven't taken those decisions lightly. I mean, we closed the schools. Mm-hmm. We're going to close the schools for the first time in history on Monday.
Can I ask you, Jason, just on the back of just 10 days ago, there were 12,000 people at the Hydro for the Stereophonics. My wife was there with her friend. Your wife was there with her friend. Did you envisage this? What's happening today?
We knew that we were going to have to do more. We didn't know the exact timing of when we were going to do it. Some of the misunderstanding in the world is it's important to know what to do scientifically, but the really difficult thing is to know when to do it. Because what we're asking the country to do is unprecedented. So we're saying no pubs, no clubs, no cinemas, no anything, no gatherings, no sporting events. You don't make those decisions lightly, so you've got to make them at the right time because you're going to have them last quite a period to protect the vulnerable and the older in the population, to save lives, literally to save lives. So we knew that we were going to stop mass gatherings probably at some point, having watched the virus in the rest of the world, but we had to choose the moment to do it. And last weekend was the moment to do it.
Did we make a mistake allowing 12,000 people turn up to the Hydro that Wednesday?
Absolutely not.
No.
Actually...
So did you not... So we made that decision last Friday.
Yep. For the Monday.
Correct. Right. So what changed from the Wednesday at the Stereophonics gig to that Friday?
The point that changed was we needed the emergency services. So actually, quick point, the virus doesn't spread very well in these big mass gatherings. The virus actually spreads much more lightly in small groups. That's why the pubs and clubs are now shut. That's why we're telling people not to go to restaurants. Because actually, it's a wee bit early in the morning for this. But can we do the science of it? So I've got to get my saliva or blow my nose onto you for you to get the virus.
Right.
It's fluid. So it's not air. I can't get it walking about. I don't get it in the corridor just walking past somebody. So the fluid has got to move from an infected individual to a non-infected individual.
And that comes from the back of your throat, from your nose.
It comes from a cough or a sneeze, and you've got to take it and put it in your nose, eyes or ears, nose, eyes or mouth.
Right. So you'd have to be directly facing that person.
Yep. Or on a surface, or you can get it from a surface.
Right.
So you can get it from your shiny worktop or somewhere else that you're getting it, or a door handle and that's why we're cleaning everything a lot more. It's why we're blowing our nose and discarding and that's why hand washing is the number one most important intervention. Hand washing is the thing that's going to save lives most. And then now what we've done, because we're at a certain point in the curve of the virus where we're going to get bigger numbers, that's why we're asking people to socially distance.
Okay.
So we had to choose when to stop mass gatherings at a point, and we had to choose it scientifically, and that's what we did.
Just want to pick you up on something. There's a few people picked up on this with something you said just a couple of minutes ago, Jason, about the pubs and the clubs and all that closing. He says that's why they're closing or should be closed.
Yeah, we don't have the powers to actually close them. What we're saying is that people shouldn't go. And now that's hard, isn't it? Because these are folks' lives, folks' livelihoods.
But what I don't understand, and this is where there's a lot of confusion out there, don't have any social distancing. Have social distancing, sorry.
Yep.
Don't get together in groups.
In small groups.
In small groups and that. So why doesn't the Scottish Government just close?
Because we can't.
Pubs?
We don't have the powers to do that. So we're asking everybody to behave sensibly, but there was a bill that went through
how does Italy and Spain have that power and other...
It went through the Parliament yesterday.
Right.
So in the Whitehall Parliament yesterday, there was what is unprecedented, an emergency bill that went through fast. And it did a few things. For instance, it's going to allow us to re-register doctors and nurses who have come off the register because we need them back.
Right.
And we don't do that usually. So we need a new law that allows us to do that. And one of the other things it's looking at is support for small businesses, because Uber drivers, pubs, clubs, people who run their own businesses, they're going to get in trouble, and they're going to get in trouble fast.
Okay.
I hear of redundancies in Glasgow even this week. So we need to support those workers as much as we can. And we haven't said yet we're going to force closure of pubs and clubs and small restaurants, but that might come.
Do you think it's inevitable that we will be forced into closing pubs and clubs and coffee shops, etc., etc.?
I think what we're trying to do is protect the public. So we're trying to protect us as individuals from getting the virus, But almost more important than that is our social distancing, yours and mine, doesn't just protect you and me, it also protects the ones who are going to really suffer from this virus if they get it.
So is it inevitable that pubs and clubs will be closed?
I don't know. I think if the Scottish public do what we're asking, then I'm not sure we'll need to take that next step. But if that doesn't manage the virus the way we need to do it, then that might be a step the government has to take, yes.
Couple of questions for you from Teresa, who is a firefighter. Could I have had the virus and not know?
Yes, you could have the virus and not know. The game-changing test that we need, nowhere in the world has it yet, but every lab is working on it, is a test that we could give you that would say you'd had the virus and survived. That test doesn't exist. So that would start to change everything. But remember, there's 6 billion people in the world. We need a lot of them. And we'd need to ramp that up really fast. But labs all over the world, private sector labs, companies, public sector, universities are all working on that test so that we can give it to her first, because she's a critical worker, and then give it to the DJs of the world because they're not quite so critical.
Yes. So there is a chance that Teresa, the firefighters, had it, gone through it and not realised it.
So about 30% of the people who get it, we think, remember, there's not been that many. There's been a few 100,000 in the whole world. So we're following them, we're watching them, and we've got some data about what's happened to them.
Right.
But it looks like about 30% who get infected with the virus get no symptoms.
Whatsoever?
None. So you won't know. Like some people get the flu and don't know. Some people get the cold and don't know.
So I could have it now and I wouldn't have a clue.
That's absolutely correct.
And you could have it.
Correct.
So a follow-up question to that. Teresa's actually got a follow-up question to that. Who's a firefighter. If I did have the virus and not know that I had the virus, can I get it again?
You cannot. You can't get it twice.
Because there are rumours flying about that you can get it again.
So there's a couple of weird cases in Japan. So here's a piece of advice. Don't look at social media for too long about the virus. So you're allowed to look at social media about the virus, but take it easy.
There's too many crackpots.
And look at verified sources. Look at people who kind of understand what they're talking about. But there are a couple of cases in Japan that people are focusing on where it looks as though somebody got 2 negative tests and then a positive test. What we think has happened there is the negative testing is not 100% accurate. These tests are not like light switches. Sometimes the tests are wrong. Of course they are, because it's science, it's DNA, it's difficult. So it looks as though from the European cases, which we're now following more closely, including the UK cases, and we've got people who are now recovering, remember, in the UK, most people recover from this virus. Even the older group, most people recover. It looks as though you can't get it twice.
We'll get to some more of your serious questions in just a second, but Leanne is concerned for you, Jason. And she says, the poor laddie never stops. Is he knackered?
I've been less tired, if I'm totally honest. I haven't been relaxing that much, but no, I'm okay. I got up early this morning, cycled along the canal from my house to you. It was sunny. The swans were swimming on the canal. I feel pretty good. 8 hours sleep, 3 meals a day. I'll work the rest of the time. I'm perfectly happy. It's important. The country is going through an unprecedented crisis. And if I can do a tiny bit to maybe communicate that with the public a little bit, because I've got a loud voice, then I'm comfortable doing that. And if you think that's good for your listeners, then I'm good with that.
Professor Jason Leitch in the studio with us this morning, answering your questions. There's so much information out there. Some of it is great information, some of it is wrong, some of it is conflicting. Yep. People are a bit confused. I've got a question here from Jules, Professor. And it's something that you said on the BBC when you were on with Kay Adams. You said, according to Jules, that you can visit your mum and dad and you can receive visitors. However, the NHS on their website says avoid gatherings with friends and family, keep in touch using remote technology. Contradictory.
So it's really difficult to tell the whole country to say you can't visit your mum on Mother's Day. You've got to leave your granny in her house for 3 months with no contact with anybody at all. So the wording is such that we want people certainly not to have birthday parties. We're not gathering in rooms of 10. We're probably not sitting at the dining table in groups of 6 close to each other. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. I am going to go and see my mum. So when I go, I'm going to wash my hands before I touch anything. I'm not going to touch her. She'll be delighted. First no hug Mother's Day for 51 years. She'll be absolutely chuffed a bit. So I will sit at a distance from her. There'll be social distancing in that. Now that's not great, is it? So that's a real compromise. And I'm not going to take a family of 6 or 10 pals round, and I'm not going to have dinner on Saturday night with all my mates. So you've just got to be sensible. So if you could do that outside, even that would be great. If you've got a wee garden or a balcony with a bit of space, then terrific. So but also the technology question is also really important. I think one of the things Scotland should do is get technology out to its older crowd who maybe aren't used to using FaceTime or WhatsApp video or whatever. And I think some tech companies could maybe help us with that to get everybody on FaceTime talking to their grandchildren and talking to each other. I think that's an important thing.
Let me take you back to the first thing we talked about at 8:15, which is you could have it right now and I wouldn't have a clue because you look fine. You look well. Same with me. I can have the virus and not know it.
Yep.
But you're also saying now that you can still go and visit your mum when you might not know you've got the virus.
Remember, the most important thing about transferring the virus is the droplets. So the social distancing is about stopping the droplets moving from me to you. So when I arrive at my mum's home, my mum and dad, my dad's still there too. We should maybe mention him briefly.
Yes.
He's not as important as the mum, but he's there. So
tell me,
they're both 79.
So tell me what
So when I walk in that door, I will immediately wash my hands.
Okay.
And then as I leave, I will wash my hands again. I won't touch it. I'll touch as few surfaces as I can. If I use the bathroom, I'll wipe down the surfaces to try. So everything I'm doing is about stopping.
Okay.
If I'm symptomatic, so if I've got a cough or I'm sneezing or anything that I'm not going.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
But if I'm going, I'm going to be really, really careful about any sense that I could leave that, because I want to protect. My mum's got a lung condition. I certainly want to protect her from that virus. But equally, you've got to keep family connected in some way. I mean, we're not. It's really, really hard.
Lots of people messaging me this morning on social media and on text about ibuprofen. Can we get some clarity on taking ibuprofen? There's a lot of mixed messages out there about it.
So this is the only time I'm going to say this expression. It's fake news. So if you've got ibuprofen for your hip or your neck or your back, you can absolutely continue. There is some slight evidence that in viral disease, if you get a fever, paracetamol is probably the best drug for you to take to reduce your fever. Ibuprofen's got some other things it does to you, affects your stomach a wee bit, is an anti-inflammatory. You don't need that for viral fever. But if you're taking ibuprofen because your doctor's given you it, or you're taking it because your neck's sore, you should absolutely continue. It's nonsense.
So continue to take it.
Yeah.
You can't express that enough.
Correct. And if you get the fever from the virus or have a fever, paracetamol is your first port of call.
Because my wife went to buy some ibuprofen, I told her not to.
No, she can buy it.
Because of what I'd read.
No,
this is what's annoying about social media.
There was a whole lot of stuff yesterday on social media about people coming off their blood pressure tablets. And I got a little bit freaked out because I suddenly had this vision of 400,000 people in Scotland all coming off their blood pressure tablets because of coronavirus. It also fake news. So we will tell you what to do. The health service is ready. The health service is ready for the people who are sick. But remember, the other thing here is the people who already use the health service, they haven't gone away. People are still going to get cancer today. People are still going to need their chemotherapy today. The health service is ready for all of those people and getting itself ready for all the people who are going to have coronavirus. So follow the same instructions you've been following unless we tell you different.
Talking to the health service, a nurse has got in contact with me this morning. Her name is Keely. And she says her staff are being depleted because they've been told to stay away for 2 weeks if they or family members have symptoms. Her issue, Keely's issue, is that they need all the staff they can get into the NHS to help beat the coronavirus. Why can't they be tested to show whether or not they have it so we can get them back into the workforce?
Keely's right. It's a big challenge for us, and I need Keely back at work. There's 168,000 National Health Service employees. I need every one of them as fast as I can get them. That's the other reason why the school closures was a real challenge for us. So next week, local authorities are going to think about how they can provide school and childcare for our critical workers, kids. We only have limited capacity for testing. So let's say we have 1,000 tests a day. Now, we're going to treble that in the next few weeks, but the whole world is trying to make tests as fast and as quick as they can. It's unfortunately not just a matter of picking up a thing from the chemist, swabbing your mouth and sending it away. That doesn't exist yet. It will. It's coming, but we don't have it yet. So you need a lab, you need a technician, you need the testing kit, You need to get to the person. So it's not as simple as people think. So we're using those 1,000 a day just now for right across the country to follow where the virus is, so that we know when to intervene in the population. So we're choosing how to use the testing, and we can't do it on critical workers yet, but we're going to do it on critical workers when we can.
But isn't it urgent to do the tests with critical workers like Keely, like nurses who are suddenly at home feeling fine, but just because one of their family members are showing symptoms, should they not be tested there on the spot and get them back into the NHS?
We've got to test the sick first. So there are categories here of where we've got to use the testing. But Keely and you are absolutely right. It's very important we get that testing to them as fast as we can. Now remember, just to balance it, if I test you for coronavirus and you are positive, the advice is still the same. I'm not going to do anything else to you. I'm sending you home for 7 days to get better, drink well, eat well, take to your bed, get some rest, come back after 7 days. The challenge there, of course, is the household bit. The fact that if somebody's got it, we're asking everybody to stay in the house. And Keely's right. We want that bit resolved. But Keely will still be at risk if she's not had coronavirus. So what we really need is a test for had coronavirus and recovered. That's the game changer.
Karen Newton has just been in contact.
Yep.
She says, do you know what, Ewan? I feel safe in this guy's hands. He's the main man.
She needs to get out more. Yes. But how nice.
There's
Actually, in the present conditions, she does not need to get out more. I should take that back. She needs to stay in the house more.
Stay in the house. And that was actually a follow-up. Again, thank you for all your questions this morning. A lot of people asking about this stay indoors.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that you need to stop going out for a walk.
Correct.
Or taking a dog for a walk. Or going to the park with a kid, as long as they're social distancing.
So remember, really, as fast as I can do it, 4 groups of people. Group number 1, the symptomatic. Symptomatic in the house. Locked away. 7 days until your symptoms are over. 14 days household isolation. So we really want those people to be really, really careful for us, because they are the ones that potentially have the virus. Group number 2, 200,000 people in the country with immunocompromising conditions, having chemotherapy, people who have had heart and lung transplants. They're getting letters from the National Health Service over the weekend and next week to tell them what to do. They're also a group I'm really worried about, because they are more prone to infection. Group number 3, over 70s, those who get the flu jag for health reasons, and pregnant women. Very, very serious about social distancing, because they are at risk. This virus is not fun. We're not messing around. This virus is a proper thing. So that group need to take it really, really carefully. Group number 4, everybody else. You, me, most of the population. No big underlying conditions, and not over 70 and not pregnant. They have to take social distancing seriously for 2 reasons: to protect themselves, but also to protect group number 3. Protecting group number 3 is the key thing, because they're the ones that are going to be most at risk from this virus. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I think we've covered quite a bit this morning, but the one question that has been asked by so many people on social media and also on the text this morning is about when can we expect to see the peak, and then we can see it. We kind of like squash that peak down and we come out the other side. Do you have a projection? Do you have an idea of when we'll kind of get back to some sort of normality?
It's the real $1 million question, and we're following what it does in other countries, which is helping us understand that. But Scotland is different. Our demographics are different. Our geography is different. What we think is that the next 2 or 3 months is the really critical period and the really tough period. So we're not going to be out of this next Wednesday. So we're hoping that the virus has gradual spread over the next 2-3 months, and then we'll come out the other end of it, and the health service will manage, because we'll be able to keep it at a level where we can treat the really, really sick, and then we'll be down the other end of it. The other thing is, in the summer, viruses don't like heat. So we're hoping, even in Scotland, that the virus won't like our summer, and that will also make it easier for us. It'll make it less infective for the population. So we're in this for the long haul, but it won't be forever. I was asked a question yesterday on STV by a lady with some mental health challenges about hope, because she was feeling hopeless. And I was able to give her a promise that there is an end to this. We will come out the other end of it, but we're going to have to help each other over the next few months to get there.
Would you put I know you've put a time scale in of 2 to 3 months so it gradually, do you know what I mean, it kind of eases away. When would you expect us to get back to normal practice where we can go to the football, we can go to the pub, we can go to the restaurant, we can hang about the streets, we can go to coffee shops. When do you see that?
I can tell you that's not going to be until after the summer.
Till after the summer. Can we end on a positive?
Yes, we can. The most positive thing I think that we can end on is that as I've watched social media and my pals and family, in Scotland, people are stepping up.
Yeah.
So companies are stepping up. So now healthcare workers can get coffee for free in a number of institutions around the country. And individuals, kids are writing little postcards and putting them through people's doors and saying, I'll go for your messages. I'll walk your dog. If you're staying in the house because you're worried, let's do that. People are handing in iPads to old folks' homes and saying, use this button to phone your grandson. So I think Scotland can do this. I think they can volunteer more. I think they can help each other. I think media, radio stations have a real responsibility to link people together, to do that kind of, not just entertainment, but make the community spirit feel different. I think Scotland can do that in a really difficult, unprecedented time. And maybe that's one of the good things that will come out of this. Maybe streets will know each other more. Maybe communities will get to know each other a little bit more.
Professor Jason Leitch, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you this morning. Can I be your friend?
You can. I'd be absolutely delighted.
I know that
you need to play a little bit more country music, maybe.
Country music?
I'm sorry.
Are you a country music fan?
My father, who we haven't mentioned much, Jim, he is a proper country music fan. So I was brought up with Johnny Cash from 3 months old. So that has always stayed with me. So maybe next time you're on, you play a little country music.
I will do. Next time you're on, I'll play one of your favourite country songs of all time, and I'll play one for your dad as well.
There we go.
Professor Jason Leitch, it's been a pleasure. I'm sure we'll speak again in the not too distant future. Thank you so much to everybody who got in contact with the show this morning. I hope we've answered as many questions as we possibly could this morning, and you've had the information that has helped you and maybe put your mind at ease as well.